Hello, this is Ever Pierce, the third of Einstein 314. Now, I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be able to put out videos because I have my own challenges as well. But until then, I'm going to keep putting out educational material to enlighten you, expand your mind, objective and creative. Okay, we're going to talk about what's in the news, about false news. Okay. Now, there's a difference between someone as a scholar and someone who is an author. So do take note of that when you, in this video, how I explain it, the ins and outs, and this is just a basic understanding of things. Now, as we know in our libraries, we have fiction books and non-fiction books. Okay, so you have something that is documented, is true, claiming is true, and is non-fiction. Okay, and how this relates to our First Amendment right. Well, first of all, in the foundation of energy, as soon as energy came in motion, energy communicates. It has a behavior, personality. These are things that are inseparable, just like heat and light to the sun. So communication. So it's very important. And you can test these things out by taking certain elements out and simulate in your head as what would transpire, put it in, or put it partially in. So you have different combinations that you can put it in. When it comes to communications, if you go through the whole span of it, which I have, is when the dust settles, communications is rock solid. Okay, now the things that's been happening, I'm going to explain to you is some of the things it's being used, like a tool, like a 9/16 wrench or a 3mm socket. Okay, so as we know with the symbolism of the sword, one side can be your salvation, the other side is your death. Okay, so under the First Amendment right, in a way, well, under the First Amendment right, they're protected. Because if you say get rid of false news, then you also have to go into the libraries and get rid of the nonfiction. Because you could say, well, you might have some use and people in there might take it literally and believe it. Okay, so now we're going to look at the positive and negative things. And there's a lot of things that has transpired out of this false news. So, in regards to this election, and that's what it's been talking about. Now, let me quickly give you an example of what I have experienced. I have a advanced level 3 of evolution. And communications is one of them. Okay. Now, I have experience from my Facebook to my YouTube to my emails to even my phone. I've had a lot of hurdles. Someone out there was making it very, very difficult for me to be seen and heard by other people out there. So if you're listening to this video, be fortunate. So we're at the point now with Trump, President-elect Trump. Some of this nonsense is going to go away. Okay, so under the First Amendment right is they are entitled to do that. Yin yang. Okay, it doesn't sound right. People want the truth. As we know with a lightning bolt, positive and negative ions. Okay, so on the positive side of that, okay, I've allotted this. Okay, now we'll just say I'm trying to start my business. Okay, and they know they can't stop me, but they go with other methods. So if I go down New York City on Fifth Avenue to promote myself, and they say, oh, we can't have that. So Jojo over here hires 100 people just like me, look-alike, stand-ins, and they're all walking down the street promoting their business as if they're just like me, but just they call it a little differently. And then if we ask Mary over here, and you say, Mary, would you go down Fifth Avenue and holler at Everett? And she's going to look down that street and she's going to say, you got to be kidding me. They all look like Everett. Okay, that is known as mental discombobulation. Okay, and this is a tool that even capitalism use. With insurance companies, they all seem to save you 15%. But if you do the hardcore facts of this, same policy, you'll have different numbers. Okay, and they do that to put an even playing field that everyone has an equal opportunity. So there's a positive side and there's a negative side. So as I just illustrated to you, is someone can put this unnecessary things. Now with energy has to tell you the truth and it has to lie to you. And so essentially what energy is saying is, if you develop yourself, you develop your sense of communication. You develop your sense of communication with me, energy. I call energy the highest level of evolution. Energy says, fret not. You're going to be able to identify the two. It'll be real simple. Just like if I have a male and female in front of me and they're both naked, I don't have to ask them any questions. Using power observation, I will be able to quickly identify certain basic things about them. Okay, so on the positive side of having this fake news out there is it'll allow you to practice your skill sets of what is real and what isn't real, and that you're not so quick to jump to the conclusion, which we're going to go into as to why this fake news was effective. And we're going to tie it all in, because it all comes down to, I'm an author. I'm not a scholar. Okay. So I've experienced it with myself. I open up my emails, and I kid you not, it's like 2,000 and 3,000 spam emails. And I have to go through every single one. And when I see all that, and it had to be, I just highlighted them all. I quickly looked through them, and they all looked like they were the same. And then one night, it just occurred to me, I said, wait a minute, what if I overlooked something? You know how like these have these little things where, say, it'll have these little symbols. They all look 8. And then they'll put a B in there. And how easy it is they all look like 8s. Okay, so I went through the painstaking and went through all of them. And I had a few people in there that wanted my services, numerology, my advice. One couple had emailed me, and they want to fix their marriage. Well, it was about 3 of them. And I had to go through thousands of them. I'm like, what the? And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, and some of these were landing in my spam email box. Who's got that kind of time? Okay, so we got a time factor. The time factor. So these are all the little variables that people can use to manipulate things. Okay, so what I was finding out is I could get 2,000 or 3,000 spam emails. And then I had some people calling me up and say, Everett, is there something wrong with your email? I said, no. He said, well, it kicks it back. So I had to email them, and then they were able to email me back. And I was like, you kidding me? It's like I get thousands of emails, and yet relating to just people that want to communicate to me or wanted my service, they weren't making it through, or they were making it through in amongst of other people. Discombobulation. And that's what fake news, one of its, you got to look at of all the potentials and usage of it. Just like a 9/16 wrench. How many devices can you use a 9/16 on? Swing set, your car, I mean, things in the house. So it can be used many different ways. Like the sword. It can be your salvation. It can also be what cuts your head off. Now, so under the First Amendment, okay, that's protected. Okay, and it's also be used as a means to help people develop what is right or wrong. Okay, I agree to that part. It fits under the First Amendment right. Okay, how do you battle that? Is like I know with energy, the foundation of energy. Energy can have all this lies to me and negatives, but it has to at least provide me at least one truth, minimum. So you have a site out there, and like we've heard a lot in this election, WikiLeaks. So you have one site. You set the certain standards to them. Is they have to be your resources. If you want to double check on something, because they're going to be held to strict standards. And they're going to have people in there, they're going to verify it at least 3 times that is of truth. And I'm talking about truth that we hold these truths to be self-evident. Meaning that you're watching me. You don't have to ask me, Everett, are you a man? Okay. You may have to ask me if I'm gay or heterosexual, because in today's time, gay people is part of the ecosystem as heterosexual people. And it's part of the population control. But that's a video unto itself. So you have to have at least one resource. Now, I've seen with the viruses and the malware out there, you used to be able to right-click on a file if you're not sure. And I forget what it was. I forget the name of it. It was, anyways, you right-click on it, and it would double-check it with some kind of database, and it would tell you that it's a well-known virus, a malware, or it's uncertain. So you have to have at least a tool. That's how you battle this. So for those out there to say, okay, they're not going to be so quick to the false and stuff. They're going to have a resource, at least one solid resource that everyone likes the element of something you can depend on. Dependability. So whether it's WikiLeaks or our government puts out something that's rock solid, they go through the 3-step confirmation to keep it right truth. Because if people are seeking out, you get people that work a lot, and they may have only 10 minutes to try to get up to speed of who they may have to vote for as a president. So they don't have all that time to sift through 3,000 emails and whatever else. This person could have a family, and maybe they don't even have 10 minutes. They might have 1 minute and they got to go to bed. Okay. So there's positive and negative things to this. I want to also explain to you the negatives. And I'm a man of communications. There's sometimes that, I tell people, if you don't want your children to hear this, this might be the time. But I think it's time that you get to know me. And it's nothing personal. Because I'm sure with a lot of children out there, what I'm saying, or what I could possibly say, would be like a walking Disney park, the Disney park. Okay. But I use certain methods, parables, analogies to connect, because we got a variety of people out there. So if I was out here and real prim and proper, or I talk like I'm from Harvard, and then only people from Harvard would understand me, Okay, so now Hillary. Hillary was on the news just recently. Was talking about the fake news and making a suggestion that it was what caused her to lose the election. And I can tell you with certainty of certainty, that is so incorrect. And let me tell you why. It's because the Democrats, not at the beginning, but in the last 100 years, have been known as the people group, the people politics. Okay, so what has happened, there's been a lot of frustration, racial stuff out, whether it be the Mexicans or the blacks. And see, I do not know how to see everyone other than 50 million shades of brown. We are identified by our bones of the human race. Am I racist? Yes. Including all the human race. You're here on this planet, the sixth heaven. You're here for a particular reason. We are identified by our bones. And you say, is there other life? The people here represent less than 1% of the life out there. And you made it here because of what you have accomplished over them. So yes, we are the superior race. Okay, there are other levels higher than us, but we are far superior than 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But see, you got some people, they want to take all the credit. You say, I'm superior, I'm from Harvard. No. Just like our numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you take one of them out, if there's 2, step down and say, I'm superior. And then you, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you go to hell. Okay. They are awesome. They are superior together. And that's with the human race. Okay. So, am I racist? Absolutely. But you guys have earned the level of being superior. And there's not one group out there, and I know people like to, is they like to think they're more superior, and it's because of them is why we are the superior race. But if you just put the example out with numbers, mathematics would not be awesome without them all being in there. Okay. So with that said, anyways, there's a lot of racial tension. Okay. The blacks and the whites and the Mexicans and Latinos. Now with this fake news, what is happening is, see, with some people, they don't need much. All they have to do is get a little posting saying, oh, these white people, beat this black guy, or put out a false thing saying, this black or this white guy shot this black, 16-year-old kid 50 times down the street. And if he doesn't confirm it, in fact, some people don't need it because they're on the self-fulfilling prophecy. They're driven by their manifestation. And they'll see that and they'll get mad. That black man will get mad as hell. I told you those bigots, it just puts a fire in their ass. And it's a false story. And I've seen it both ways. It don't take much. It doesn't take much at all to get the ball rolling, like a snowball going down the hill. And then it just, I don't know how much of that is real and not real, is because when you got it all mixed up, it puts you in a position you don't know what to believe in. That's why we have to have at least one source, if it's WikiLeaks, that has a 3 confirmation on the information that it has, and people can refer to it as their default. And say if they're in question, they can check over here, because if it is, somewhere along the lines, it'll be 1,000 reports saying this is a fraud. This is no way it's a false story. Because I was watching on MSNBC, providing that it's not another false story of a false story. But this guy had put a story out against Hillary. And he had made $8,000 in this one story. It was some kind of a conspiracy, or someone got shot and killed, or it was something like, I don't remember exactly. I just said, wait a minute, I stopped. I said, $8,000? Just passing out a false story? I'm in the wrong freaking business. I can't even get someone to donate $10 to me. And I work my ass off to try to help people and enlighten people. And this son of a gun is making $8,000 off one story. God knows how much stories he put out. Okay, but this is a serious note. Okay, it is real serious. Is the false accusation like Denzel Washington supporting Trump, that's not going to start a sense of where people are going to start killing and shooting each other. Or these false stories, well, such and such was arrested and they found her with 50 pounds of crack. That's not going to get people fighting and shooting people. But if they get a story, and this black guy, some white cop shot a black kid, 16 years old, 50 times, he's going to be pissed, and rightfully so. I'll get that son of a bitch and bigot. And then they do the same thing to the white people. Like this one video. It showed two black guys pulling a white guy out of a car and just beating the living hell out of him. So they're playing, which is similar to extinction. Our true enemy is extinction. It loves playing people on people, nation against nation, male against female. That's essentially what they're doing. For whatever reason it is. Okay, so when you stir this up, now everyone's going to the forefront. And they think that Trump and everything about him, he's a bigot and everything else. And I've been to his rallies. I've done my visual aspect of it. Because I was like, wait a minute, he's a bigot, he's a racist. I know Trump. He's my apprentice. He's the seventh heaven spirit. And I was like, if I find out Trump has gone in that direction, I'm going to put my foot in his ass. Because that is nothing that I would teach him. Ever. That's why I had said, if he's racist, bigot, or whatever all these little words they decided to find in a dictionary, I said, if he is, I will put myself up on that cross. And I'll light myself on fire. All you got to do is watch if I'm wrong. And it comes down to these false stories. I actually seen it with my own eyes. It was on the news. These two young girls, it had me pissed off as hell. They were saying, oh, we got kicked out because we're black. And if I hadn't seen any more of white and black and Hispanics walking around them going into the Trump, and it was peppered all inside, so there's a variety of skin tone in there. And then Hillary, next day, pounding that bigotry and that racist, and this is not what our country. Now, you want something that's wrong. As we have seen, what pisses me off about this whole thing is like anyone, give an inch, they take it to a mile. Not just any mile, they go down this mile. If there's going to be anything of a civil war in America, start racial tension. Because the blacks will stand up and fight for their ass, and the whites will do the same thing, and before you know, you got a civil war. We dealt with that when I was Abraham Lincoln in 1865. You don't want to go down that road. And it pisses me off. And see, the way Hillary just jumped on that, just milking that son of a bitch. And I'm like, I don't believe this. Why? Why are they putting this? Because the blacks, the Hispanics, all these ones, they're going to get pissed off. They're going to come to the forefront and they'll say, yeah, Hillary, let's vote Trump. Let's vote against Trump. So they're building this case against Trump. They've been trying everything they could throw at Trump. to stop him. You know why? Trump is the seventh heaven spirit. His initials, TRUMP, to round up my people. You put an ET on the trumpet. That's been talked about in Revelations. So I can go on and on. That's just the introductory. So they know enough about seventh heaven spirits because of contrast, white and black, or it could be green and white. You get them together, you're going to have contrast. Means Trump is not going to have to try hard, but he's going to make them look so pathetic in the things they have done. And so when he gets in there and it comes to the light and they see the contrast. See, if this wall of Einstein, my previous life, was painted the same color as this wall, you may overlook it. So they know when Trump gets in there, things are going to get snitched out just by the contrast of it. And it's going to show how pathetic they've been working more at keeping their job than the job of we the people. The corruption, the draining of the swamp. That's why billions, not millions, billions of dollars have been poured in to stop the Trump train. And the thing is, they were unsuccessful. Even at their best. And they threw everything in there. You know what's unfortunate about this false? There have been officers shot in their freaking car. Sneaking up on him and shooting him in his car. And I would bet my last $10 that guy that shot him, somehow he got some information. Or maybe his buddy got the information and he didn't double check it and he's telling his buddy, hey, yo, bro, man, hey, yo, my nigga, you know, there's some bitches that were up against us. And this guy says, oh, hell, they're going to do this against us. He pulls out his gun and he goes out there and shoots a fucking cop. Are you fucking real? There's just some things you just don't go into. And that's why we have to have certain things in place, because that really pisses me off. And not to mention, now they put in and say, you know, it's hard. A cop gets killed. It's hard not to feel emotional about that cop. And then now I'm looking at that black guy making me mad. You see what's going on here? Playing people against people. Skin tone against skin tone. Nation against nation. Male against female. Well, that was the first thing. That's been going on since Adam and Eve. So, if there's one area, it will be in that area. Only because you could classify it as a terrorist type act. You're aiding and abetting. You're facilitating an outright civil war. And that means a lot of people die. And what we've already seen, officers being shot in their car. White guys. I mean, all sort of things. And everyone thinks they're on the right side. But they didn't take the time to verify it. And some are still, you know, they kind of calm down, but they just need anything that remotely looks like it. Yeah, you don't want this civil war. So that, I mean, it's like, if I had mine, yeah, I'd say, we're not going to lock Hillary up because of the Clinton Foundation. No, we're going to lock her up because she pounded the idea of racism. Pounded. And people just got angry and angry. And they said, well, that lost her election. No. The minorities. Now they're pissed off. They're up. They got fire sticking out of their ass. Now they're coming out and voting for her. That was the whole objective to that. The whole freaking objective to it. And people got hurt out of this. And officers got killed out of this. And that's what pisses me off about it. False news, just like fiction and non-fiction books. But stay out of the area that will take us on the fastest fucking track to extinction. We need to put something in place, whether it's WikiLeaks or something, that we all, before we jump to conclusion of something, we can verify. Now, what I know of human behavior, you're not going to be able to stop me and say, well, we stop all the bad news. You got people out there. They're going to lie. They're going to say, oh, that white cracker over there, he's against me. It works both ways. People will lie because they like to be a victim. There's a lot of benefits to being a victim. Zero accountability. So we don't want to put wood to that fire, that campfire. We need for it to smolder and go out finally. But there's a lot of advantages. Working people against people. And that was done politically. To get as many people fire out of their ass and getting out there and vote for Hillary. And they say, well, Hillary won the popular vote, by, whatever, several millions. Well, this is the reason why the state has the popular vote within that state. So if you're going to live in that state, you want the popular vote. Okay, but there's 50 states, and you have to represent them all. Because you don't want Charles Manson and his family growing to the size of 60 million people, and it's a popular vote. He will get in there, he'll be helter-skelter, and he'll control our government. Or he could be Jeffrey Dahmer. You know why I am? Because he likes to eat people. So, on the same token, we have to be understanding a multitude of levels of people. When you think of Noah's Ark, this earth is like an ark. We can't go anywhere. I mean, we travel around the space, we've been to the moon. But in the Noah's Ark, the animals have to learn one or two things. They either have to learn how to cohabitate, or they learn to be an extinctionist. They will kill each other and eat each other. Do you want on your resume, I'm an extinctionist? I don't care what you have done. When another life form sees your bones next to the T-Rex and say, wow, oh yeah, that's the human race there. I recognize the bones. And there's T-Rex and there's Raptor. And you say, damn, isn't that the shame? They're extinct now. They're extinctionists. Yeah. It's like the word extinction, forever life. The opposite is not just death, is extinction. It thinks like you, it has a personality just like you. And I didn't say devil, I didn't say Lucifer. These are the things that we're up against. That's why some days you say things in backwards and your thinking is a little off. That's why the 3 confirmation, when it comes to higher evolution, confirm. If you're uncertain of what they said, you say, please, can you repeat yourself? I just want to make sure I don't misunderstand you. Give everyone the benefit of the doubt. If a white guy comes up to you and he says, yo, nigga, get back. Don't take it personally, because you don't know where he's been and what he's done. And maybe his whole family been killed by a black guy or Hispanic or Latino. You don't know. Don't take it personally and you say, good day, sir. Everyone's at least heard of that. Good day, sir. You're saying, I'm going to give you your respect. I'm not going to take it personal. And then that shows him. And then next time you come up to him, he may not be so forceful. Because he'll come to his conclusion that not everyone of a dark skin or a light skin or a green skin behaves that way. Just like Donald Trump says, radical Muslim. Obama's, I don't need to say, to know who I'm fighting. No, you fucking say radical. You know why? Because that pisses me off. Because now you got billions of Muslims out there thinking, oh, what? You think I'm a murderer, I'm a rapist, I'm a pedophile. That's why you are specific. That's right. If we're illegal aliens, take it one step forward, breaking the law. Not just laws, but serious laws. You're being specific. So every other Latino or Mexican coming across, They're not illegal. They're not breaking the law. And they say, well, he's not talking about me. You're being specific. You're targeting just like they target cancer. They don't target the whole body. They want to kill the cancer. It's nothing personal. But see, if you listen to Hillary and the way the media is, that's exactly what they did. They stoked it. Just kept driving it in. And then we got people protesting. Stop the shit. There's nothing wrong with a fair game, open election. But you're wanting to get elected, or you want to elect her, and people are dying, people are getting hurt, cops are getting shot. Because what do you think the cop's going to do? He's either going to say, fuck it, I'm not going in, they can defend themselves, and then the whole police department doesn't come in. That has happened. Or that cop is having a bad day, and like we have seen recently, he'll just say, fuck it, and shoot you, and there's no reason for it. That's why we have to at least have one resource and not be so quick to jump. So, it can be your salvation, but it can also be so quickly come back and chop your fucking head off. And that's what makes me mad. Mad. Everything else, I'm fine. I saw the fake things, and I got a giggle out of it. And I got one, it was saying that how it was these black guys, and it was something to do with young kids, and I was like, really fucking pissed. No. And I said, wait, whoa, hold on, Deborah. And I was checking it, and it was false. It wanted me to build that hatred against that black guy. And these were young kids. And it seems like when they get younger, the more emotional they get solicit out of people. And I said, no, I'm not going to fall into this. I can't believe they were doing this. But in a way, they're protected under the First Amendment right. As I know with energy, there's always an exception to the laws of energy. This is the exception to the laws of energy of putting out false news. If you're putting it out and you're trying to stoke basically a civil war, that's a criminal offense. You don't get paid for that. Like this one guy got $8,000. Well, that was a different thing. They need to leave that stuff. If they can prove so-and-so beyond a shadow of a doubt, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that he has done this and this and this. It's evidence. It is proof. It's paper trail. You can prove it. Then you say, he is a bigot and he's a racist. Until then, just like court law, bearing false witness. And so, I think he's a racist. Don't even go there. And in the news media. Okay, you're looking at me and he says, well, I'm a black man and this ain't right. I was like, and he goes, well, I'm the white man and is that... Why do you have to put that adjective in there? I'm watching you. Do you think I'm stupid that I don't know what your skin tone is? I don't know the color of your eyes? That's part of the stoking because they want you to get angry. You say, oh, you're so stupid. I have to tell you what color you are. That's how they get you up because people hate the thought of being called stupid, incompetent. That's how they, it's not about the skin tone. It's how they do it. You're stupid. You're retarded, stupid. So there's so many levels they have done this. And that's what pisses me off because officers have died. People have died. People got beaten. Stop it. That's where they're drawing the line. Outside of that, you want to come up and, and Madonna has now got a penis. That's not going to start a civil war. I would find it kind of funny. But there's just certain things you do not go in. Just like you listen to video. Okay, I'm a man of communication. If I was to go out in the public and I say, yo, nigga, Oh my God, you just said the N-word. You know, because people are very sensitive about that. To me, first of all, I know the origin of Nigar. That was a name and terminology to identify a dedicated servant of energy, a problem solver. Okay, so in this falsehood, anything that's racial, it's gone. We're going to treat it almost like terrorism because we do not want civil war. You got almost, 300 million Americans? How many of them say 100 million has guns and ammo and everything else? Can you imagine them walking down the street and just start saying, fuck it, boom, 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 boom? You might as well kiss America goodbye. That's the only exception, or at least at this given time in evolution. Leave the race card alone unless you can prove it day in and day out. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Unless it's some kind of educational thing to bring about a parable in a sense so someone can relieve them of their hatred. They're able to not jump the gun on things. They're able to think things out. You know, an election is supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be where you got to fire up your ass. But I draw the line when cops are getting shot in their cars. I get a little emotional in this area. You know, it's like I love every single one of you guys out there. And and you guys can't see it. And it's like, fuck, pardon my French. And it's like, oh great, we're going to get into a civil war and then we're all going to be dead. Because he didn't realize he had some fake news and he didn't have some fake news and everyone's got fake fucking news about races and they're not even taking the time to verify it. So it has to be available. You have to be able to identify. So, but we have to at least put something with the WikiLeaks that is highly dependable. Just like the president. You put faith and hope into the president that he's going to make the right decision on your behalf and all Americans to make the right decision. And whatever tools he has to use, as long as when the dust settles, that we are all on a win-win situation. So you have to at least put that in there. You have to give at least someone. You can't force these other people not to bring these false because it's like I said with the library. So in a sense, communication is important. So that's why we have to understand it. And we have to put certain things in place. Then it keeps an even playing field to everyone. No one's getting racial tension. And if you really wanted the truth of it, and I'm not picking on any particular one, but on my research, I found, I'm not even going to say the ratio, but I found there was more of the blacks taking the position of victim because there's a lot of benefits to it. When I did the research on being a victim, I was like, damn, I might as well be the victim. But see, that would just drive me insane.